Hi, I'm Ross Lazaroo-hood, entrepreneur, philanthropist and family man.
This is my podcast in conversation with.
From the boardroom, back to the beginnings, to the present with my guests, talking about business, family and sport. Today we're in sunny Bromley, outside Greater London, and we're here to meet Saujanya Phagre. He's the Managing Director of Global India Business Corridor and one of my friends. I can't wait to hear his story.
Hey Ross, good to see you.
Well, thanks for coming on my podcast.
Oh, my pleasure, thank you.
But you and I used to live in Bromley, and our kids go to school here, so I thought it was a perfect venue for us guys. So tell me, straight into questioning, apologies, tell me about your background, your childhood that has led to your successes.
Sure. So I was born and brought up in a very laid-back town in India called Gwalior. It's central India. Did my schooling from Gwalior, and then I graduated from Indore by training. I'm an electronics and telecommunication engineer. Although I never got a chance to use any of that knowledge, straight away jumped into more on the software side of technology and working in the financial services. Back home, relatively small family. My mom, she was a school teacher, and dad used to work for a bank. Spent good amount of time in Gwalior, then came to Noida, worked in a company called Computer Sciences Corporation, and then came to UK. Mainly it was more around finding the right opportunities, both as a professional and also exploring the business part of it. I always wanted to get into business and do something which is more innovative, something around the entrepreneurship model.
Okay. And what age were you there?
That was, I think, 23.
Still very young then at that point. Okay. And I suppose that neatly goes into my next question is, can you talk about the background of your successes within business?
Yeah.
It's led to the role that you're in at the minute, that is.
I think quite a lot kind of comes down from the upbringing, where I come from a lower middle class family, and there's a lot of emphasis in terms of focus on the knowledge is power mantra, and which is kind of a couple with having a strong value system. So there's a lot of focus during my early days in terms of maths part of it, science part of it, and understanding how you can leverage that knowledge for the betterment of the society, and also kind of coupling those things with a strong ethics model. That's something which kind of stays with you all your life. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of start delving into the professional life, into your entrepreneurial things, that's something that's quite important, and that's define what sort of person you are.
Yep. And
what sort of a conduct you do when you come across your professional colleagues and also do business with your business partners.
That's fair enough. And talk to me about this, the Global Indian Business Corridor that you are the Managing Director of. Mm-hmm. I think everyone would like to know a bit more about what that role is and how does that translate from India to UK and vice versa. So
Global India Business Corridor is a business consulting firm, and we enable bilateral trade across Europe and India. A couple of years ago we realized there's a lot of appetite across Europe, in India, to have an export-driven economy where there is a demand on one side and supply on the other. And there's a kind of a big gap in there where there is not much information available, not much information around the supply chain, logistics, around the regulations, around how to do the trade across different countries. Mm-hmm. And we identified that gap as an area where we can support the business, both in India as well as in Europe. So our key aim is to enable that bilateral trade. We have a few team members who have been working with both sides of the government across the FTA deal. We are fingers crossed that comes to fruition. So the entire model is kind of fixated upon how can we help business on both sides to do the trade across UK, Europe, and in India.
Wow, and India is such a growing economy as it sits at the moment, and it's going to become larger and probably one of the most dominant countries and economies in the world. So it is one of those that people have to get on board. and can't be forgotten about. Everyone keeps going to powerhouses of the US, China, UK to a degree, but they now need to be looking at India as a dominant player.
I think India makes a strong candidate when it comes to China plus one strategy, but at the same time there is a lot of groundwork that needs to be done in India, both at the infrastructure level, at the policy level, across the regulation, that brings down all these trade barriers and promote the trade in India. And we have been actively working with the governments in India also to promote that trade and to see how we can help to get those sort of a business coming up in India. Having said that, there are a few areas of improvement where we see that actually this could have been done much easier, or kind of trying to simulate what has been done in other economies and how that models can be lifted and shifted and bring over to India.
Wow, that's amazing. So that leads naturally into my next question, which is off-piste for me, but I think it's necessary to talk about today's globalization and today's tariffs that has been unfortunately implemented by obvious countries.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, what we are heading for is kind of a brave new world where it's more of a globalization reversed. We are going back to maybe 17th Nixon's era. But again, there are plenty of opportunities in there in terms of coming up with different business models, and that kind of comes down to the point as what sort of business is something that is still kind of eligible for calling it as globalized, or something that falls into that bucket, and which businesses are something that probably they can over a period of time be localized and kind of undoing the whole model, which manufacturing or services being produced at one place and being consumed at another one.
I think you're right, and also I think it's going to be now telling with Mark Carney now being legitimately elected as the Canadian Prime Minister, and he's not lying down.
Yeah.
I think he could become a powerhouse in his own right with Canada, changing the dynamics between the US, UK, and what influence that he invokes, because he's going to move away from the States, potentially move away from China, and then have to potentially go to the likes of India, UK, and such forth. So I think globalization and where the world's in a flux, that we could start seeing different powerhouses outside the norm of the Russia to China, over to the UK and America, to a completely different hierarchy, and maybe even, as you said, spread out. Instead of being the top 3 or 4, we could look at an 8 potentially that aren't laying down. They're going, fine, this is going to actually help us take an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to an extent I find UK, India quite sweetly positioned, where they see where all the windfalls coming out from these different policies is something that can work to their benefit, especially around things which comes into the service sector and also quite a lot of manufacturing areas.
So what drives you as a person?
I would say there are multiple factors, but at the same time there is always kind of a fire in the belly element, where you are trying to do something which is produce a product or a service which is for the betterment of the society, and at the same time breaks the conventional model, disrupts the existing business models, and come with more innovative and efficient things of doing the work. So it could be a kind of a change in the assembly line, or it could be something which is around coming up with the new business models. And most of my entrepreneurial adventures in the past, they've been kind of pivoted along all these new technologies, everything to do with how things can be done in a better way and more efficient.
Innovation within the world as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. And can you talk about your successes to date that's got you to the role you're in?
So I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2013 when the global financial crisis hit the market. And at that point in time, there was a lot of focus going around the alternative finance companies. I started a company called True Fiscal, which was a peer-to-peer lending platform. And to be honest, entrepreneurial journeys have never been easy. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of...
Feel the heart, to be honest with you.
Yeah, lots of setbacks before you can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. So when we started the project, like any entrepreneur journey, funding was something which was a key concern.
Yep.
And when you kind of go through that journey, you realize actually, as a founder or as a co-founder, you end up doing almost everything, right away from funding to maybe going to the extent of cleaning the toilets. But when you start getting these little success, when you get a feel that actually what I'm doing is working, and what I believe in is something that is acceptable to the wide audience,
That's right.
that kinds of takes you to a point you say, yes, this is the right direction of travel, and I can see heading in the direction is the right thing to do.
Yeah, this is where the success comes from. It isn't going to happen overnight. Sometimes it does, but mainly, as you said, it's the graft, and then it's giving it the grit to keep going, knowing that success is just over the hill. Yeah. And even then, you still don't stop. And I love mine. I keep doing it, unfortunately. But my wife tells me off, and you know her, so I comes into it. But you know that I've invested into AI and AI companies, and I know your background. And I would love to hear your thoughts about AI in today's world in industries and commerce, and the impact that we are seeing and could see.
Yeah. I think artificial intelligence is a very different proposition in a kind of an ongoing chain of technology developments. It is something that you can't compare with the dot-com bubbles or invention of ATM or those sort of things. AI itself is a kind of a multi-dimension discipline where it's not pretty much limited to technology, but also there are ethical and policy-related, regulation-related dimensions to it. And having said that, when it comes to AI adoption, the kind of efficiencies that is produced, the kind of agents and the tools that it has clear impact on the society in terms of individuals' employability, how the workforce nature would change, and what sort of business model we come up with. Just to give you an example, probably if you use AI for autonomous driving, countries like India and China, where there is a lot of a human capital available, the business case might not stack that much, because you would prefer having a chauffeur coming, you picking you up, as opposed to waiting for that autonomous car. Whereas if you come to the western part of the world, it's an excellent business model, because you don't have any dependency on a human coming and picking up. You've got an autonomous car, you've got this infrastructure set up. So based upon the use case, the success of AI is something which is kind of determined. Similarly, if you go into the other areas like manufacturing, Xiaomi just came up with a factory where there are absolutely no workers, there are no lights needed. You are actually producing one smartphone every second. And that's possible only with having the artificial intelligence in place. But another question would be, do you need that sort of a thing when you got surplus human capital? It's an open question, and people may have different opinion on that.
That's right. Well, but we see the impact that AI robotics can have, and to save time and finances and value. But as you said, then you have the human capital. Well, what are they going to do? And then that adds in the heaviness. If you look at China and the 2025 year policy that they were wanting to bring in robotics, AI, that has been an absolute success, and it's the biggest one to date. And they are one of the largest populations. But they seem to be, well, at least on paper, they seem to be actually being a success. But I'm intrigued about the Western world and how this is going to impact it.
Yeah.
We're here today outside Little Order, one of the best coffee houses in Bromley. We're very lucky that it's on our doorstep. But I'm not going to be gentle because it's Spanish Inquisition time. It's the quick fire rhyme.
Yeah.
So, give me 3 inspirational heroes.
3 inspirational personalities. My mum should be on the top of the list. She's been kind of defined my personality. Steve Jobs, one of the best marketing gurus that you can ever would have met. And Nelson Mandela.
Oh yeah, strong character.
Absolutely, yeah. I was in Cape Town, I heard all the stories, fascinating.
Oh, he definitely mastered this. I followed him, never met him. Met his granddaughter, and the family legacy, continues on. Quite an interesting one way through, but it's beautiful in Cape Town as well. And so, okay, that leads into one other. I'm going to change it up. 3 favorite holiday destinations.
Ooh, Dubai, one of my favorite hideouts in Middle East. Cape Town, beautiful place. And north of India, it's a place called Benares. It's not exactly a holiday thing, but it has got a strong character. I would recommend everyone to once go to Benares once in their lifetime.
Yes, I've not been. Everyone knows I've been to Kerala and to Goa, and they're quite commercial, but I haven't been to the northern.
Benares has got its own feel, yeah.
That's one of my things going to happen to it. And 3 favorite foods.
Oh, food. I am a foodie, and I'm a big sucker for Indian street food. So anything spicy, I love that. Having said that, I quite enjoy fish and chips sitting on a maybe bonmati pier or something like that.
Nice.
And Mexican food, something that
that's interesting. Well, I suppose the spice is going to come into that.
That's right, yeah.
I'm addicted to roti at the minute.
All right.
All the different, from your chutneys to your coconut curries. It's kind of like a staple breakfast, and obviously mixed up with a mutton curry.
There you
My
go.
spice levels are slowly graduating. Nothing like anybody else's, probably not yours. But okay, and what about 3 tips for success?
Consistency and discipline, top list. Club that with a strong mental resilience, because that, sorry to say, but that will come only from the failure. And if you can add annoying optimism to it, that is, you got to be annoyingly optimistic to get the things done. That would be my recipe.
Okay, and 3 ways you try to relax if you can.
I think spending time with family is quite relaxing. So my 7-year-old Yash, and my wife. Besides, I do high intensity training. So again, take your mind away from all the stressful stuff. And I do meditate usually on a daily basis. So that would be one of the things.
Well, meditation's a good one as well. I used to do a lot, but I just haven't taken the time to do it. But I do recommend when you get down to it, or the yoga as well.
Yoga,
it's
yeah.
kind of good to go through. And 3 ambitions you still are kind of pushing core.
I would like to contest and win a parliamentary election once in my lifetime. Setting up a big safari park, a national park kind of thing, probably in UK or in India. And maybe setting up a restaurant chain, because I'm a foodie, so would love that, having some
What sort of restaurant chain now?
anything which is spicy.
Interesting. Maybe a fusion sort.
Fusion sort of stuff, yeah.
Okay, I guess it's quite intriguing. We might talk about that. And how about, and it's a hard one, as everyone says, but how many hours a day would you say you probably work?
As long as it takes to get the job done, to be honest. There have been days when I don't work at all, and there have been days where you work all 16, 18 hours. So as long as it takes to get the job done, I don't mind working for those hours. You have to enjoy the job, only then you can do that.
I give you that one too. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Sauj, thanks for coming on my podcast today. It's been really appreciative, and it's been great to learn about how India, globalization, tariffs, and the UK corridor that you're building within India has been amazing. So thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Lovely.
It was a pleasure on your podcast. So real fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.